The Watchmaker's Requiem. The old man sat hunched over his workbench, the frail light of dawn filtering through the dusty shop window. Around him, clocks of every shape and size ticked and chimed, a cacophony of time echoing in the cramped space. His gnarled fingers, worn smooth by years of meticulous work, moved with practiced grace, assembling a miniature clockwork hummingbird. Each precise movement was accompanied by a soft, wheezing breath, a testament to the decades that weighed upon him. She found Elias in a back room, his frail form dwarfed by a massive iron safe. His eyes, once bright with life, were now clouded with a profound weariness. He beckoned her closer, his voice a raspy whisper. "The clock? It's time." He revealed the family secret, the tale of the clock that held dominion over time, and the terrible price it demanded. He spoke of the generations of Thorne watchmakers, their souls intertwined with its intricate mechanism. Elara listened, her initial skepticism giving way to a chilling sense of dread. The fantastical stories her grandfather used to tell her as a child, tales of enchanted clocks and living machines, now took on a sinister new meaning. He placed a key in her hand, cold and heavy against her palm. "The clock chooses its keeper," he whispered, his voice strained. "You must decide to accept the burden or to let it die." He collapsed then, his strength finally failing him. Elara watched in horror as the life drained from his eyes, his final breath a soft sigh that seemed to echo the ticking of the countless clocks surrounding them. She was alone, the weight of her family's legacy pressing down on her like the iron lid of the safe. The clock ticked, a relentless pulse resonating through the room, a constant reminder of the choice she had to make. To be continued. Elias Thorne was known throughout Vienna as a master craftsman, a magician of gears and springs. His creations were whispered to possess an uncanny life, their movements eerily mirroring the rhythms of the living. But Elias knew the truth. He wasn't merely a craftsman, he was a prisoner, bound by a secret, a curse passed down through generations of Thorne watchmakers. It started with a clock, an intricate masterpiece of gold and silver, powered not by gears and springs, but by a single human heart. Lagan claimed it granted its owner control over time itself. But the clock was also a prison, its intricate mechanism a cage for the souls of the Thorne family, their life force fueling its infernal workings. Each generation was tasked with guarding it, with keeping its existence a secret. The clock was their legacy, their burden, their doom. As Elias placed the final ruby eye onto the hummingbird, a shiver ran down his spine. He felt it then, the familiar tremor in the floorboards, the subtle shift in the air. The clock was awakening. He glanced at the massive iron safe, hidden behind a tapestry depicting a celestial dance, his heart pounding against his ribs. The time was approaching, the time when he would have to choose his successor, the next soul to be bound to the infernal machine. His gaze fell upon a photograph, tucked away in a corner of his workbench. A young woman, her eyes vibrant with life, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. His granddaughter, Elara. He'd kept her away all these years, sheltered her from the family curse. But now, the clock demanded its due. His hands trembled, the hummingbird falling from his grasp, its delicate wings clattering against the worn wooden floor. He was out of time. Chapter 2. The Inheritance and Shrine. Elara arrived in Vienna with a heart full of trepidation and curiosity. She had only fragmented memories of her grandfather, fleeting visits during her childhood, always shrouded in a strange sense of urgency and secrecy. The telegram announcing his sudden illness had arrived like a bolt from the blue, pulling her into a life she never knew existed. The watchmaker's shop was just as she remembered it, a dimly lit labyrinth of ticking wonders. The air hung heavy with the scent of dust and oiled metal, a strangely comforting aroma that evoked a childhood spent amidst the fantastical creations of her grandfather. But a chilling silence permeated the space, the usual symphony of chimes and melodies replaced by an unsettling stillness.